It's time to go live at Lucian Live 2022 in Denver, Colorado, April 10th through 13th at the Denver Convention Center. Discover the innovative solutions, transformative insights, and strong connections to help you lead through change. Register at Elucian.com/ElucianLive and catch Elvin and I recording on site live. We can't wait to see all of you. It's time. Welcome back, everybody. It's your time to EdUp on the EdUp Experience podcast, where we make education your business. Joe Salustio here with you again on a episode. Well, I'm really excited about the guest, of course, but we're just drastically, when this episode comes out, we're just fantastically, I should say, going to pass 400 episodes in just a tad over 2 years. Don't know how we've done it. I've said that in previous episodes. I don't know how the heck we got here, but we just continue to interview amazing folks within the higher education sphere, and it just is not slowing down. And there's too many, and I mean too many great conversations that we are still yet to have. Did you know that the EdUp Experience episodes are booked out through August of 2022 at this point? That's how busy we are. In the world of podcasting, you also have to be open to schedule changes, which my current guest today, I say he's been a previous guest because he almost was, but I keep rescheduling on him like every single time he's supposed to be on. And I think we were supposed to meet last March, but now finally we've gotten here. I'm going to bring him in now, ladies and gentlemen. His name is Dr. Ross Tomlin, and he's president at Tillamook Bay Community College.
Hello,
Ross,
Joe.
how are you?
Doing very well today.
Ross, honored to have you with us. Talk about where Tillamook Bay Community College is. What do you guys do and how do you do it?
Okay, well, we are on the north coast of Oregon and right on the Tillamook Bay. And so very rural college. We are one of the smallest colleges in Oregon, community colleges. We are a system, and I use the word loosely, system. There's 17 community colleges in Oregon. We are one of the two smallest colleges, and we're not really a system in Oregon. We are all independent. We all have our own independently elected boards, but we work really well together. And so being a regular public community college, we offer 2-year associate degrees, certificates, and a lot of non-credit type courses and certificates. So again, very small. We have an FTE, full-time equivalent number of about 500 students per year. And we serve about 2,000 different students each year, both credit and non-credit.
One of the things I loved about your website was the commitment to community education. You know, there's community college education where students go and they get a degree, and then there's educating the community and creating pathways for people to come and learn something. You actually give an example of like playing the guitar or, beekeeping. But you either work or partner with institutions within the area or offer them yourselves to bring the community in and teach them skills. How important is that to Tillamook Bay Community College and your impact in your area?
Oh, it's critical. When we got started back in the 80s, that was the majority of what we did at the college, was offer non-credit community education type courses. And we still offer quite a few, but we are just all about community. That's what drew me to the college here, was how involved we are in the community and how plugged in and how much the community uses us. So it is everything from, as you mentioned, guitar playing, just individuals in the community wanting to take a lifetime enrichment type course, or just something to learn a new skill or just have fun. But we also do a lot with industry, large companies. I'm sure all of your listeners are familiar with Tillamook cheese. That's our big industry in Tillamook.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, and they make, of course, not just cheese, but Joe. They make wonderful ice cream and lots of different dairy products. So we are a big dairy area. And in fact, one of our claims to fame is we have more cows than people in Tillamook County. But that is the county we serve at the college here. And but we have great relationships with the large companies in our area to provide skill training for their employees. We have a great manufacturing program, welding, other types of career technical programs that work well with these industries. But it is all about community in Tillamook, both at the public level and even with private companies.
So talk about that, some of the challenges. Tillamook, if you talk about, dairy farms and space, it's rural, you think access, you think, maybe a lack of population. How do you attract students to Tillamook Bay Community College? And what are the challenges, that you have to overcome to get to recruit and keep that student?
Well, it is interesting. It is probably more of a matter of trying to get the word out about that we are, first of all, here and what it is that we have to offer. As I mentioned, we represent or we serve Tillamook County. That's a small rural county on the coast, made up of about 25,000 people. The interesting thing is the population of Tillamook County has not changed in probably over 50 years. So we're not losing a lot of people, we're not gaining a lot of people. It is people that are here for generations and really love this area. And so that's who we serve. So recruitment is not a huge thing for us. It is mainly just trying to get out and finding ways that we can partner with, like I said, schools and industry and other companies to provide services that will encourage their employees and people in the community to come in and take our courses and help improve their lives.
So is it a more passive type of strategy where you're out branding, awareness, building a community partnerships versus going out and saying, okay, we need to recruit 45 students for X, Y, and Z program for this, that, and the other? Do you sit back and you work through an organic approach versus a paid kind of go out and find the students where they are?
Yeah, I would say that's probably accurate. I wouldn't call it passive. We're pretty active, and our marketing has really gotten much more sophisticated in the last 5 or 6 years, and we're doing some great things with social media and finding ways to reach out and connect with people. So that is what we're doing, but we don't really have, for instance, we don't have a recruiter on staff. There was some targeted recruitment done for particular populations. For instance, we got some money recently to help go and identify high school dropouts and try to get them to come back to finish a GED and then go on for some more college training. So that was one area we did do some targeted recruitment for, but overall we just want to make sure the community is aware we're here and what we have to offer, what kinds of programs we're thinking about starting. We do a lot of work trying to go out and connect with groups and individuals and leaders throughout the community to find out what are the needs, what programs should we be considering to start in the future, so that they can be sustainable and meet the needs of our county.
Outstanding. That's super. I really love the foundation that you have on skills development, continuing education, kind of future of work. Get a job, take these skills, get a job. That's one of the things in higher ed, as you probably know as well as anyone. There's a big question on ROI, on value, on pathways to higher education that create access and so on. Where do you stand? I ask this of every guest. Where do you stand on what the true value of higher education is, and how do you feel about the argument around, anti-intellectualism that's taking place? You don't need to go to college. You can get this and you'll be just as successful. I mean, is that really the way it is, or does kids still need a college education?
Oh gosh,
or adults for that matter.
Right. Well, I think the way I put it is that almost everybody needs some kind of training beyond high school. It doesn't have to be college, in quotation marks, where you come out with a degree, but it has to be some kind of training. That's why we've grown our non-credit programs. For instance, about 3 years ago, trucking companies came to us and said, you know, we just can't find enough truck drivers for our companies. And so we started a truck driving training program. It's 4 weeks long. It provides the skills they need to then go get their commercial driver's license. We since then have put out probably about 50 to 60 students that have their CDL, and they've all gotten good jobs making 50,000 or more, which for our area is good. And so that's a non-credit program. So they come in and in 4 weeks, they've got their training, they can go get a good job. That's a great example in my mind of helping students find what it is they need or want to better their lives. And
wow.
So we do a lot of those. With a lot of people, it is, I want to come here and get the background courses I need to then transfer to a university and go on and get a regular degree. That's fabulous. We have agreements with all the universities in Oregon to transfer virtually all of their courses so that they can get to the point soon, I think, where they move into any university as a full junior once they leave here. But that's not all of our students. And so we're trying to meet students where they are and what their needs are.
Ross, talk about your superpowers a little bit. You've been in higher ed for a long time. You've been in multiple roles. How do you even get into higher education, and how do you get and keep and sustain this passion for helping students?
Well, that's always an internal process. We have a new staff orientation process that we started a few years ago because we were getting so many new staff coming into the college that had never worked at a higher ed organization before, let alone a community college. So they came in with a whole different mindset as to what a community college is all about and how it works and why we do this work. And that is one of the sessions that we are actually offering this coming Friday to the new staff. And that is, why work at a community college? What is it that drives you to want to be here? And it really is a passion for helping students. I would say every single staff person we have here, and faculty, of course, is here for one singular purpose, and that is to help all of our students reach their goals and succeed if at all possible. So we know our students well. That helps when you're small like we are. And we try to give them the resources and the help they need to be successful. And so it's that passion of trying to help people find a goal and reach it and improve their lives that keeps us all going every day.
I love it. You know, one of the I was reading about your some of the news things on your site, and it looked like at the end of last year you secured a Title III grant of some significance to the institution.
Yeah.
Can you talk? Because you know what? I think most people who work in higher ed know Title IV and what that is.
Yes.
But Title III might be foreign to some folks, particularly if you don't have those types of programs or those types of areas at an institution. And can you talk about what the Title III grant what is Title III and why that grant was important for Tillamook and what it's doing for you and your student population?
Well, for a college our size, those kind of grants are transformational. We got finished with a Title III grant a little over 2 years ago, and it just transformed us. So Title III grants are from the federal government, Department of Ed, that help you to innovate. So they are innovative grants, and they're focused on how are you changing your organization to do what you do in a more efficient and effective manner. So we applied and got one about 7 years ago. We finished it up. It's typically a 5-year grant. It's a little over $2 million spread out over 5 years, and it allows you to do amazing things. So our current Title III grant that we just received and started in October, this past October, is going to focus on getting us a new nursing program. So we are the only college in Oregon that does not have its own nursing program. And as you're probably aware, healthcare and nursing in particular is just a field that's just growing, and there's a huge need
Exploding.
yeah, with those skills. So so our intent is, we feel like we now have the capacity and the skills in our administrators and our staff to be able to pull up and start a nursing program. So that Title III grant is going to allow us to do that. It's also going to focus on starting a career center at the college. We've really never focused on helping students once they get to the end of their time here at Tillamook Bay, to help them first at the beginning find the path they really want, and then at the end help them take that next step once they leave Tillamook Bay. So part of that is that we're going to be able to completely look at student services, which are the staff that really interact with the students, advising, financial aid, registration, etc. We're going to do a lean audit, which will let us look at how can we change the structure in this department to really be more effective and efficient at helping students. And so that all process will be done as part of our Title III grant. So it really truly is a transformational thing. And I think having those kind of grants at smaller colleges like ours just helps us do even more, because no matter what the size of the college, it's a 5-year grant for a little over $2 million. So you can imagine a college our size, it has much more impact.
Amazing.
Hey, everybody, head over to www.edupexperience.com, our website, where you're going to find all of the episodes that we've recorded categorized so that you can ensure that you're spending your time listening to the podcasts that are most important to you. You're going to see the reviews of our podcasts, the shows in our network, our partners, and a section on starter episodes. If you're new to the EdUp experience, listen to those starter episodes and get a feel for how the podcast has evolved over time and our impact in the world. www.edupexperience.com. I love it. I love it. That's that level of impact, especially for a small college like yours. You can imagine what that does for you, your area, the community, attracting students, being able to promote your programs. It's incredible. Congratulations on that.
Yeah. Great staff. It takes a lot of time and effort to put those together.
Oh, I'm sure the staff involvement and, getting all of the stuff that you need to apply was not an easy lift, as it were. You figure that there's probably a pretty heavy lift in there to get a grant of that size.
Yep.
Well, Ross, right in the middle of every episode, I like to diverge from the traditional question and answer. Well, kind of we'll do the same thing, but I like to play a game. You want to play a game with me real fast?
Why not?
All right, here we go. For no money, Ross, for no money, we're going to play a game called Higher Ed Word Association. And I'm going to give you a series of 3 words/phrases, and I want you to tell me the first thoughts that come to your mind. You ready?
Oh boy.
Here we go. Pepper. No, not really. It's higher ed. I forget where I am. Community college stigma.
Well, I think the big stigma is that it's that we are not a real higher ed organization, and that we are, certainly subservient to universities. And I would say that is a very false stigma.
Student debt.
It is a concern. It is a huge concern, but at least at community colleges, our cost is so much lower than universities. And certainly at Tillamook Bay, we work really hard to find resources for our students, so that I would say the vast majority of our students leave here with no or very little debt, and that's important to us.
That's great. All right, last one. Here we go. Dual credit.
Dual credit is absolutely critical. It is critical to us. In Oregon, we offer classes in the high schools taught by high school faculty that are of no cost. Now, not every college in Oregon does this for free, but we do. So that basically last year we saved families in Tillamook County $266,000 in tuition and fees, because these students were able to, within their existing high school classes, take a college portion of that class and get college credit.
Cool.
In fact, we had 2 students from our local high school last year that achieved their associate degree at the same time they graduated from high school, and that was at a cost of $0 to their families. So it's absolutely critical.
That's critical. And you think about what that student, that example of a student finishing high school and their associate degree at the same time, what an incredible head start that student has. What about pathways beyond the associate degree for those students that come to Tillamook Bay, and you look at catalyzing them onto the next level? Where do students typically go as they graduate from Tillamook Bay? Where do you promote them to go? And are you there's 3 questions in one, Ross. Are you expecting them to provide pathways and dual credit for your students toward a bachelor's?
Well, so we have a great relationship with Oregon State University, which is the land grant school in Oregon. And in fact, we have a OSU extension office just across the street that's in our facility. And one of the employees that is actually an OSU employee, but they work for us half-time. So they teach in our area, and they are an open campus coordinator, which means for OSU, they work with students to sign up for OSU courses and be able to take OSU courses online at the same time they're working on classes at TVCC. So it's a great partnership. Plus we have, I think currently right now, 4 degree programs in that area where students can take that program here. Forestry is one of them. And of course, OSU is one of the top forestry schools in the nation. And so the students can take our forestry program at TVCC, graduate with an associate degree, go right into the forestry program at OSU as a full junior, and finish up their bachelor's degree in 2 years. Now, the coordinator will help them with any field they're interested in at OSU, but those 4 are tied directly to programs we have here. But we have students going to lots of different public universities in Oregon. There's 7 of those, as well as private universities. And we work with them to get whatever courses they need here that would then transfer to those universities and help them move forward with whatever degree they're wanting. Now, in Oregon, the legislature just recently passed a law that said that we are going to work on standardizing transfer programs so that, for instance, if a student wants to major in biology at a university, there are requirements at the 7 public universities in Oregon that are all different. And so if they don't know exactly which school they're going to go to, it's very likely they will take courses here that will not count toward their biology degree at the university.
Yeah, that's a bit confusing for a family looking at schools, right? That can be very confusing.
Yeah, it's frustrating, confusing, and it's costly because they waste time and money taking courses that don't count. So the legislature basically said, you guys have got to work better together. And so we are in the process now of taking one major at a time and working through so that all the universities and all the community colleges are saying we will accept these courses so that when you take them at the community college, they will all transfer to count toward that major at all 7 universities. And it's a long, slow process, but we're making headway, and I'm very hopeful that's going to be a great thing for our students.
That's great because, one of the things in higher ed that I think the evolution of higher education in that decisions have been made for the university, by the university, and not necessarily always in the best interest of a student. Transfer credit is one of those areas where you just go, huh? And, and if it was in the best interest of the student would understand exactly what transfers and how it transfers and when it transfers, so that when they make their initial buying decision, they know what that future buying decision looks like 2 years from now, because it's been ironed out for them. And that's one area that is discussed all the time in every circle and every committee membership group is transfer credit, and at scale. How do you do it in such a way that 100,000 or 50,000 students can understand it at the same time? So that's huge.
Absolutely. I agree with you completely. Yeah.
Ross, talk to me about your time in community colleges a little bit. You it looks like, and I go back and I'm stalking you on LinkedIn right now, and you were in your first community college sometime in the early 2000s. Is that right?
Oh, no, I've been teaching in a community college since the 70s. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
So wait, you know what? LinkedIn doesn't show all that. So you didn't put all that on there, but let's just call it leadership roles over the last 20 years or so
Yep.
through multiple
Yep.
community colleges.
Yep.
What's the biggest evolution in community colleges that you've seen? How did they used to operate? What's changed, and how do they operate now? And why is that in the best interest of students?
Well, I think a lot of things have changed. I'm just trying to think. I think curriculum has become broader. Community colleges are doing more different types of programs. I think there's always been a focus on career technical, but right now that seems to be even more important in community colleges because, again, not everybody needs a 4-year degree. So let's get them the training they need to get the job that they want, and can be able to do so with a good salary. I think there's been a philosophy change in that we understand that this is not just, we used to be called junior colleges, right? Back in the 60s and 70s. And eventually we transformed over to community colleges. And I think there's only a couple in the country anymore that have the term junior college. And that's because that's not by any stretch all that we do. And that is, we're not a stepping stone to a university. Certainly, as I mentioned before, we have students that want to use us that way, and that's great. But we can be a stopping point where students can come in here and get what they need and get a good job. Now, I think maybe one of the other big changes you'll see all over the country, and we're certainly bought into it, is guided pathways. And that's where we're helping students find the path they need, realize that they can come in and take some courses, then they might want to step out and get an entry-level job and work for a little while, and then come back, pick up where they left off, take some more courses and get a higher certificate or degree. And so it's a pathway, and we help to identify those pathways and provide them the opportunity to choose which way they take that pathway, and to give them the goal they want. So those are some of the things I've seen change.
Wow, I love it. You know what? It's so critical when we're talking about what higher education is, and to every single student, it's something different. And while quote unquote junior colleges were perceived to be some stepping stone for students, today's community colleges can be that. They can be an endpoint for students that come in and need an associate degree or less or certificate training to go out and get a job. And that it's the job and the quickness to a job that defines the finality of the educational path, right? And I think that's the big change is how like to your point, how big a part employers now play in how students choose how they choose their educational journey, and how aware they are of an ROI. When I don't think students in the past, maybe they were, but not in mass like they are today, are aware of debt and its impact on themselves for their future. What do you think about that?
Oh gosh, absolutely no question about it. Yeah, we've got so many students that come in, and an example is a partnership we have with the Tillamook Creamery, which is the company that makes Tillamook cheese. And they will send their workers over here to take our manufacturing program, and their base entry level employees, they pay the student to come and take classes here. And then when they get done and graduate with a certificate or degree, then they go, and they're continuing to work at the creamery all through that. So they're usually coming over here part-time. When they finish, they get promoted, they get a higher job, and it's just been transformative for these students to take those opportunities at no cost to them whatsoever, except for their time and energy. So those kind of things just make it really worthwhile for what we do here.
I love the insight, Ross. And so I'm going to ask you our final two questions that we ask every single guest on every single episode of the EdUp Experience. Here we go. Number one, what do you want to say about Tillamook Bay Community College that you haven't said, something you forgot to say, something you want to say, website, events coming up, anything at all, plug away, take the mic and do what you want with it. And then number two, what do you see as the future of higher education?
Okay. Well, Tillamook Bay is a special place, and I knew that when I came here to interview. It's just amazing what we accomplish here for such a small college. And for instance, we have started 24 new programs over the last 3 years, and most of those are career technical. Most of them are focusing, or a lot of them are focusing on healthcare. We had no healthcare programs prior to that. And so we're just working so well with our industry to build these programs and meet the needs in the community. And one of those is that we are now going out for a bond in May to build a new building. And we only have really one main campus building. And then we have a partnership building across the street with OSU. But this would double the size of our campus in essence. It would focus on healthcare education, and it would allow us to have a place for that new nursing program we mentioned a little earlier. So that's sort of the big push we are right now. Plus, we have a building that we just purchased across the street for our manufacturing programs. We just got $1 million grant from the Economic Development Administration to help renovate that building. So our manufacturing and welding programs will have a really state-of-the-art home. So we're just really building new programs and new opportunities for our students. And we just really, and we're growing. We've added more staff each year in the last 4 or 5 years.
Growth is good.
And so, you know, it's just fun seeing that we are creating that opportunity for people in Tillamook County to better their lives. So that's sort of what we're pushing for here. And your second question was where do I see the future of higher education? Well,
you got it.
I think we just got to continue to morph and change as the need changes in our society and our culture. You know, I'm a big proponent of the fact that we are a small independent college. We can do a lot of things on our own. We're nimble. We can make decisions, and in a few weeks or months, start new programs and new partnerships and do a lot of great things for our community. The more that the state then comes in and says, well, we need to more standardize things among the community colleges, or we need to have these checks and balances in place, whatever it is, it just slows things down and it creates more layers of bureaucracy. So those are concerns I have in higher ed. The more, you know, I understand the need for some consistency across the board, but the more that the state and federal government puts bureaucracy on us, the harder it is for us to be innovative and creative. But I think the more we can be innovative and creative and come up with new ideas and implement them, it just is great. And so it gets back to the whole term, community college. We are a higher ed institution that is made and built for the community that we're living in. And the more we work with that community and the people in it to meet their needs, it's just it's a fun synergy, and we can do a lot of good things.
Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Incredible insights by our guest today, Dr. Ross Tomlin. He is president of Tillamook Bay Community College. Ross, it's been an absolute honor to have you today here on the EdUp Experience podcast.
Thank you, Joe. I appreciate you asking me.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've just EdUp. It's time to go live at Lucian Live 2022 in Denver, Colorado, April 10th through 13th at the Denver Convention Center. Discover the innovative solutions, transformative insights, and strong connections to help you lead through change. Register at Ellucian.com/EllucianLive and catch Elvin and I recording on site live. We can't wait to see all of you. It's time.